I think probably 2021, and shout out to Miss Business. We talked about the 6,000 pound rule and how you can write off 100% towards if it's in your business name. But that's changed. And this is something that I discovered when we were trying to get a car maybe a year ago, and I was looking for that same 6,000 pound rule. It went from 100% one year. I know in 2026 it goes down to 80%, and then by 2020, is it 2029? It phases out. Like you won't be able to use that same tax incentive. So we actually did a different strategy this year with the car and said, all right, we're going to lease it and we're going to go EV. Talk about the differences in incentives of using your business for the tax incentive and getting a vehicle.
So let's be clear. I'm not a tax attorney or an accountant. So you definitely want to speak to whoever your accountant is. And you did this too. Speak to your accountant before, if this is, one of the factors in you buying a car, make sure you speak to your accountant, look up the information. And like I said, be prepared when you are doing this. Because what I'm seeing, and I looked on the IRS website, there's another website called section179.org. And they talk about it where vehicles, from my understanding now, they've dropped it to the amount that you can write off is also based on your usage. So the vehicle has to be used for 50%, over 50% of the usage has to be for business in order for you to write it off. And again, if you get audited, they're going to come and they want to see those logs as far as how you're using that vehicle, right? And from my understanding, the limit now for 2025 is the Section 179 deduction is $31,300 for vehicles that are over 75,000 and greater than 6,000 pounds. Okay, so now here's how it works. If you're only using that vehicle for 40% of the usage is being used for business, then you can only write off that 40%. It's not the whole vehicle anymore like it used to be. So again, very important that you're looking at that. Vehicles under 6,000 pounds. So let's say your personal vehicle, if you're not using a heavy duty vehicle, you're not using those big SUVs, you can still write them off, but that number changed for 2025 to 20,400, as long as the vehicle is being used for primarily for business users. Again, not a tax attorney, not an accountant. Definitely want to speak to your accountant and to make sure you're in line, because this is one thing you don't want to mess with when it comes to the IRS. To go buy a Bentley. Another thing that I found out as a factor is your company has to show at least the income, the taxable income for that year has to be over the amount of the vehicle. So you have to keep that in mind. These are a lot of factors. To buy a Bentley because you have a company and you're showing on your tax returns that you only made $60,000, $70,000, it's not going to work out that way. It's not going to work out well for you.
Talk about the EV incentive.
Yeah, EVs are great opportunities for incentives for people who are looking for tax savings. In New York, there was a $7,500 rebate. Again, that's starting to change based on the supply and demand of EV vehicles. In New Jersey, at one point, if you registered an electric vehicle in the state of New Jersey, you didn't pay tax at all, sales tax on the vehicle. Now that's changed. Now I think about 50% you would pay of your tax revenue. I think it's up to $3,500. But again, this is a moving target. This is something that continues to change. So you have to do the research.